The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments. And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to be with you always, the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot accept, because it neither sees nor knows him. But you know him, because he remains with you and will be in you. I will not leave you orphans. I will come to you. In a little while, the world will no longer see me, but you will see me, because I live, and you will live. On that day, you will realize that I am in my Father, and you are in me, and I in you. Whoever has my commandments and observes them is the one who loves me. And whoever loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and reveal myself to him." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Do you love me? Well, that's the first time here. Little, what we call a dialogue homily. So the response to that is, do I love you? Rather anxiously and nastily. And then Yenta says, for 25 years, I've shared your bed, I've mended your clothes, I've fed who you are, I've given you children, I've milked the cow. Why do we have to talk about love right now? And as the song goes on, you hear again and again that kind of back and forth with Tevye, the fiddler on the roof, saying again and again, "Do you love me?" And her answers come. And then finally at the end, they sing a duet together in which they admit that they really do love one another. And together they sing, "It's nice to know." And isn't that true? It's nice to know that we are loved. And those of us who have not had that experience may find that very difficult to deal with. But Jesus lays out for us today in the gospel why we should love and what he asks of us when he says, "If you love me." And what Jesus says is, what does he say? "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." It's the 15th verse of today's 15th chapter. "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." Now, our world does not cotton to that. We do not believe that love really belongs to rules. do we not often say, "No one can tell me whom I will love"? And of course, one of my favorite awful lines is, "Love means never having to say you're sorry." I often work that over with married couples or couples that I'm preparing for marriage. Really? I mean, how will you go through life never having to say you're sorry? Doesn't work. So love is a lot more than all you need is love. No, life is full of things that demand much more of us than love. One of the other questions that comes up as we deal with couples preparing for marriage is, love is enough to make my marriage go beautifully, even though our relationship up to date hasn't been going so well. And I cannot believe how many couples check the yes box on that one. And we all know, especially married couples, that love is not enough to keep marriage going. It sure does help, love, but it's not the be-all and end-all of our lives together. So what is Jesus saying to us today? Basically, he's saying, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. If you are willing to follow in my footsteps, then you will keep my commandments. And what are those commandments? They're pretty basic. Love God. Got that one down, right? That usually is no problem. Oh yeah, I got loving God. That's, yes sir, that part I got together, right? But what's the other part of that? And love your neighbor as yourself. And that's where sometimes following Jesus' commands becomes difficult for us. We're all human, and trying to do the things that are necessary to love other people is not as easy as some would have it. The vertical relationship with God, that's reasonably easy. Okay? We can say, I love God, and I love all that he does for me, and I particularly love the fact that he will bring me to himself. That's the vertical relationship that we have. But without the horizontal relationships that we have with other people, the vertical relationship won't work well. If we love God, then we are going to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. We are going to be able to show our concern for the people around us, the people in our family, the people in our neighborhoods. We are going to live out what Jesus asked us to do. And he asked us to do that in the Beatitudes, both on the mountain and in the plain, where Jesus tells us more about what it means to live a Christian life. So we are being called by Jesus to keep his commandments. And he also says to us today, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to be with you always, the Spirit of truth, which the world cannot accept, because it neither sees nor knows it. But you know it, because it remains with you and will be in you. I will not leave you orphans. And where does the Spirit come to us? The Spirit comes to us at baptism. You know, at the beginning of Mass, I told you that we were celebrating the ordination of 3 new priests. And most people will think that's the best day of their lives as Christians. They are ordained as priests. No. It's an awfully good day, let me tell you. But the best day of all of our lives was the day we were baptized in Christ Jesus. Because that's when we originally received the Spirit. And it's the sacrament of confirmation, which our young people will be receiving, by the way, tomorrow evening here at the cathedral. It is in confirmation that that Spirit given to us in baptism is strengthened, because, at least in our Western tradition, confirmation is given to us when we're 12, 13, in that vicinity. Whereas in the early church, confirmation was always given at the same time as baptism. But the important piece is not to argue with the theological niceties of all of that, but instead to be able to know that the Spirit comes to us, and in that Spirit we are given the grace to understand the importance of working with people, loving people in our own sphere, whatever that sphere might be. And so Jesus tells us, if you love me, and we say we do, then you will keep my commandments. You will love one another. Whatever that takes. Sure, it will be the marriage relationship and family relationships. All of those things demand love. They demand forgiveness. They demand our being for one another. They also demand that we look around and see the people around us who do not have the love that most of us have, who are not sharing in the great gift that God gives us, that Jesus promises us, if we only keep His commandments. So giving love, sharing it with other people, is very, very important if we love Jesus. Pope Francis, in his wonderful apostolic exhortation, which is Amoris Laetitia, which translated into wonderful English is the joy of love, says to us, the right words spoken at the right time, daily, protect and nurture love. And I would add, the right actions at the right time also protect and nurture love. And our task is to make sure that the right words spoken at the right time give love to others in the way that Jesus intended it to happen. In a certain sense, Pope Francis is our fiddler on the roof, reminding us that love is important in our daily Christian lives. And isn't it nice to know that such love can indeed happen?